Hi guys, good morning. This is Sandeep. I hope you can hear me. Yeah, rest of the guys, mute yourself. Surya and Surya is the only guy who's unmuted until now. Yep. Because what happens is, we know all of us are working from home, and Friday we have kids. People watch television. Kids study something. We get to get a lot of knowledge when we don't mute ourselves because last 100 days, right? I think we crossed a century now. Working from home. I mean, if most of you are students or you guys can hear me, right? Yes, you can. You should be. Surabhi,
Yes,
yeah, mute, mute yourself. Yes, yes, yeah. So many of you might be students or working professionals, working from home since 100 days now. So I think now this has been become a routine. Like, am I audible? Can you mute? Can you unmute? Can you see my screen? See, all these questions became very normal now, right? Like that, we used to do weekly calls. Now it became every day. Part and parcel of our life has become that. So, so I'll start off. We'll quickly talk about. Yeah, I'm not sharing anything yet. Yeah, I don't used to share something without really discussing or starting off stuff. So I'll tell you how this session would be progressing today, so that we can discuss or we can see how to do it better. So first few slides or first few minutes, I'll talk about data science, and I'll talk about opportunities. And also one important thing that you guys have to understand is this pandemic situation, Corona, right? So there could be one question that you might have, or many of you might think that in this Corona, will there be any hiring or not? Anybody has that question? Yes, no? Just ping it. Don't have to unmute and talk. You can ping in the chat. Do you have that question? Like, how will the hiring happens? Right. So I'll first explain that because I thought that would be more important, more appropriate for you guys now. Yes. So when this Corona started in the March, April month and until mid of May, people were, at least at the April, people were not hiring so much. Even when there was hiring, people were actually calling and explaining that we are keeping currently on hold. All that kind of stuff was being explained. But now we don't know, right? Now it is unknown to us, like when this is going to end. And I think many of the companies, many of the teams have got used to working from home effectively. So what I mean by effectively, initially there could be several hiccups, like people might be thinking about few things, people are having few questions, or productivity is going down, etc., etc., etc. Now it is easier for us to streamline because we have taken 100 days now. Now everything is streamlined. So now many companies are hiring. Yeah, many companies are hiring right now. Beautiful voice in the background. So many companies now they are hiring, and everything is becoming virtual. So if thinking about career perspective, yes. If you had asked me this question in the month of April or May, I would have told you I don't know because we are just transitioning. But now there is no transition. We are already transitioned. So now we know how to work from home or how to go to office and work from office. So we have learned it very well. So now people are hiring very well because now again, July, August, many companies hire because of several. I mean, few companies have their year ending in the June in India. I mean, apart from India's ending, they have different endings and a lot of stuff. And also with the recent news that you might have seen on H1, L1, all that, lot of confusions. the only bottom line that you have to take from that is there is a good number of people getting hired in India. So because I have been attending interviews, I know, because I didn't get to attend interviews in the month of May. I'm attending interviews now, so it's as simple as that, right? So I hope I answered that question very well. If you have detailed questions on that, we can talk about that in the break that we have. So let me share my screen. Yeah. I hope you can see my screen. Yeah. So what we have today, we have some introduction to data science that we'll talk about, and face mask detection. So I think this become pretty popular now. So you're wearing a mask or not? Now the second problem, the problem that you are solving is more important to other person than you. So if you are not wearing the mask, I have a bigger problem than you if you are with me, right? So we wanted to see how AI is helping there. It is a slightly advanced topic. I'll touch upon it. I'll explain you very high level how things are working there. But the rest we will talk about. We cannot really dig very deep into it because that is completely AI. But I'll tell you the bonding pieces on how that works. Then we have this. Yeah, this is important to you guys as well because early morning, if you have woke up, then first statement obviously you will do it. Yeah, second statement is important for us because though it is beautiful, we cannot hear so many voices, sorry, not noises. And after the introduction, we will take questions about institute, about program, about me. I don't know if you have any questions about me, but about anything else we will take. Then we will discuss about the project or the face mask detection algorithm that we are talking about. Then we will take questions after that. So that is how we thought it would be easier for you guys to actually get an introduction to what we are trying to talk about, ask questions, get clarified, then go back and see what else we can do with data science, and then questions on that. That would be a logical stuff, is what we thought. Yeah. So what I would actually do is I'll open this, always keep it aside, the chat one. Have questions, ping it here. Ping in the chat. As long as you think you have background noise, ping in the chat. We'll see if we can answer that question right now, or that if that question takes some time. Okay. So with respect to me, right, I am Sandeep, and I've been working with IT industry in Hyderabad only for past 14 years. And out of that, last 8 years, I've been into data science. So we were working on data science before calling it as data science. So we were not calling we ourselves as data scientists, something like that, because those designations were not available at the point of time. But yeah, we were solving same problems which are related to data science. So I'm a senior data scientist now, and yeah, much of my expertise is into natural language processing and computer vision. And yeah, predictive analytics is go-to thing that we do usually, and also prescriptive analytics. So what is predictive, what is prescriptive, you get to know all details later. But if you want me to give you a very high level information for you to understand what is predictive, so predicting is whether somebody will not pay the loan or not. Prescriptive is why they will not pay the loan. Predicting whether somebody pays the loan or not is your predictive. Prescriptive is you can tell why. So why path is that. So by telling why path for a few problems, probably you can avoid it. What's happening? That's not me for sure. Some magic is happening. Let it stop, please. Yeah. That's not me for sure. So now we will start about data science. Now think about it. Whenever you see Amazon, whenever you see any website, you see a lot of data there, right? A lot of content, a lot of content about the product, a lot of content about the reviews, and information about the product, etc., etc. So few applications or few websites, few companies have something called as structured data. Few things don't have structured data, they have unstructured data or semi-structured data. So if I talk about structured, semi-structured, nothing much. If you look at data in the form of table, rows and columns, Excel sheet is a structured data. So whether what's my user ID, what's my password, how many things I have bought from Amazon would be a structured data. But unstructured is Amazon. You have a lot of stuff, information completely scattered over the website. That is your unstructured data. Semi-structured data, let us talk about an email where you have from address to address which are fixed or which are available, but the body of the email or attachments, those are semi-structured. So something is structured, something is not structured. So you have different types of data that are available. But what happened was, over the time, several companies have been collecting data for their bookkeeping purpose. That is just to analyze what is being sold, what is not being sold, for auditing purpose. They were not really able to understand that they were actually sitting on a gold mine. So they can mine it to get a lot of meaningful insights. So once this started, people started using algorithms, and machine learning algorithms, those are not new, those are not there from now, those are there from a lot of so many years. But now, why people are learning so much, right? You might have this question also. If this data science was there since 1995, since when Java was there, why hasn't this became so popular like Java in 2000 year itself, right? That could be one question. So what happened was, many machine learning algorithms work with data. So the more data you have, the more time the algorithm takes to work. So we never had that much of computing power. So year 2010, 2012, where GPUs were most common, all algorithms came into light because we had the computing power. We cannot really use one algorithm, start, run it, wait for a month and see the results, right? Waiting for a month, I mean, paying salary for just running an algorithm might be a very, very bad idea. So that is the reason why it was not that popular. But once they actually understood with good computational power, we can actually solve several problems. Then wherein this data science stuff got so much popular. But this was there since 1950. The linear regression, when you talk about algorithms, the first algorithm we might talk when we actually go for training. Linear regression was there since 1950. I mean, just we got independence, linear regression was there. Okay, so it's not new. Now, visualizing the data to get better perspective is something that we're talking about. Now, you might have heard one beautiful statement: a picture speaks some 1,000 words than 1,000 times more than words, or 10,000 times more than words, whatever. Now, even when you look at your COVID-19 stuff that happens very regularly, you see plots, you see graphs, because visualizations are most powerful, and that is very much strong asset that we have as a data science, right? And the better we understand the underlying data of the organization, the better we can solve the problems. Okay. Now, what was the need? So as I told you, we have a lot of data coming up, structured data, unstructured data, and data. We are saving the data because we have to save the data for doing all the bookkeeping, auditing, etc., etc. There is no predictive analytics. There are no scientific insights. Then we had to bring in data science for prediction, for actually using it. Now, there is one pretty good website, guys, is Netflix. You know Netflix, right? Yes, no. You guys can type. So there was one competition in Netflix that was scheduled actually to see whether recommend me next movie. So as long as you are recommending me some good movie, I am going to click on it, I am going to buy it. So that was their agenda. So do you know how much the person who have actually given the algorithm won? How much money? Do you know that? You can ping that number. I'll see. So there were several people who actually attended or participated in that competition, and people looked at the best possible solution that they can implement. So it was not like you use a bigger GPU which nobody's having and get a super accuracy, but they wanted most easier to implement and best solution. So there was the criteria that they were actually looking for. And do you know how much money that guy won just for one algorithm on recommendation engines? It's $1 million. Yeah, $1 million is what he won for providing Netflix with that algorithm. Now just imagine if they were actually providing the winner $1 million for solving an algorithm, how much company would have earned or company would have by looking at that much of that algorithm. So that is a power. So they paid $1 million for an outsider to give a solution. Now looking at how much they have given, we can just anticipate how much they will earn by using that algorithm. As long as they don't earn, they don't pay that much, right? Now we have different roles coming in different markets. So we have data analyst, scientist, and a machine learning engineer. There is a slight differences between your data analyst, data scientist, and ML engineer. Data analyst positions are junior level positions where you have to do visualizations and get meaningful insights from the data by using plots. So there you don't do any predictions or don't do any modeling, but yet you just do the very important thing, that is the visualization of data. Several companies are hiring for data analysts. You can actually look for jobs there. You have several jobs, seriously. Now machine learning engineer is somebody who is a bit better than data analyst. So he will be implementing models.
Hello.
Yes, Sridhar? Be on mute now, please. Keep yourself on mute, Sridhar. We will give a break for questions in 5 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. A machine learning engineer is somebody who is actually implementing the models on the data and doing a lot of ML activities like measuring the accuracy, validating it, improving it, etc. Now, data scientist is somebody who does a lot of other stuff as well. Like apart from data analysis work and ML engineering work, he will also be responsible for collecting the data, finding out data. So slightly different roles that people has, but many companies are not having few roles like machine learning engineer and data scientist separately. Few companies don't have that, but few companies are very particular on these specific roles. But if what you learn here, you learn end to end of what a data analyst would do and end to end of what a machine learning engineering will also do. And with respect to data scientist, yes, you will learn something with respect to doing several projects on several applications. Like let's say we have completed one module on linear regression and classification. I'll tell you what these are in a minute. You will do a project there. So once you are doing a project, we will provide you a data set and we'll also provide you some missing links there. That is something for you to explore and get the information. So that is what your data scientist would do. So more or less, yes, uh, you will get trained on all these three things very effectively. And right, so the biggest advantage here is, guys, please be on mute. Guys, be on mute. Redmi and Vijay,
Yes, sir.
please be on mute. Please be on mute.
Sir, you can mute all participants, sir.
Yeah, sure. So, what are the prerequisites, right? We do not have any prerequisites. So, any graduate can learn data science. So, that is the biggest advantage that we have. So, as long as you are curious, as long as you are ready to learn some mathematics, yes, you will be able to learn data science pretty effectively. Now, this is important for you guys to understand what we have. Now, we have computer science. So, some part of computer science that we wanted to learn. So, programming, effective programming, and deployment. Those parts are coming from your computer science background. And with mathematics, you learn statistics, you learn probability, and there are several probability distributions that they are. You will also learn them as part of your mathematics. Now, domain expertise. You need to have domain expertise because as you have good domain expertise, you will be able to learn very well. And the statistical research, machine learning, and data pre-processing is what you do usually. Look at the slide. So we have different stuff here. And now if you look at the other stuff, you use data engineering, domain expertise, statistics, visualizations, and advanced computing for solving it. There are several components that you have. So visualizations I was talking about is something that you use as a data analyst. Then you have data engineering. So data engineering is something that you write few SQLs and pull data from underlying database. So for data engineering, what you have is you might have your underlying data in your CSV files or Excel sheets or Oracle database or Hadoop. So wherever your data is, you have to pull it to your environment to work on the data science projects. So therein you actually use this data engineering skills. And domain expertise, the good domain expertise you have, you can actually anticipate few problems or you will have better ideas in solving the problems with respect to domain. And the next thing is the computing power. The better the computing you have, you solve the problems pretty effectively or pretty fast. These are the several steps that you are actually involved in working for a data science life cycle. So you need to have your business understanding. So what is business understanding? So we will talk about this in a level, then we will again go back and see what we can do. So now, after looking at a few slides now, like what is data science, what is predictive, with few examples where you can see the application of data science, please you can ping me, applications of predictions, etc. Please guys, be on mute. I am not able to mute you guys. Please be on mute and ping in the chat what you can do. Raghu, I think you can mute them. Please mute them. Yeah, I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll wait for your answers so that we will discuss this slide even better. Yeah, somebody was saying something. Let us see. Yes, chatbot. Okay, example of AI. That is right. So what else do you guys think? What else? Chatbot is part of AI. Is kind of AI. Yes.
Sir, what are the career opportunities, sir, for freshers?
Ping your question. Yes, we'll take that question. We will definitely take that question. That is an important question. Face recognition, automatic car. Yeah, that's autonomous car. Okay. How do we collect the data? Fingerprint. Okay. Career opportunity for freshers. Okay. Similar product recommendations. Yes. Okay. Okay. Very good. You guys have pretty good understanding. With respect to career opportunities, Prashant, I'll wait for 5 minutes. I mean, I'll give me 5 minutes. Once I discuss something in the flow, then I'll talk about career opportunities. Yes. Fingerprint, product recommendations, etc., etc. Yes. Right. Now you guys have a good understanding of several products. Now let us go back and understand the slide that I was talking about. So what I have. So now I have business understanding. Now let us talk about one product that one idea that we got in our chat is your chatbot. So let us say chatbot is one product that you want to design. Okay. As part of data science, we are thinking like designing your chatbot. Now, what is your business understanding? The business understanding would be the better you understand why do you need a chatbot. So why does the business need chatbot is what we need to analyze. And if we are if at all our chatbot is useful or if at all chatbot is necessary for the business or not is what we will tell them. Now instead of a telecaller, we are replacing that specific telecaller with a chatbot is what our business is. Now second step is your data mining. So what do you do as part of this data mining with respect to chatbot? You collect all the chat history or the call data. What I mean by call data, whenever you call any customer care, this call may be recorded or monitored for quality access purpose. You might have heard that, right? So they will record the calls. Underlying statement is they have the calls, they have the data. So once they have the call data, it is simple to convert your speech to text. So that we will talk about later, but we convert to speech to text. That is your data mining. Now, what is data cleaning? Now, people might be talking few words which in a very, very confusing way. Like I speak very fast, somebody might be speaking even words very differently where we don't know or they are recorded incorrectly. So cleaning is cleaning your data. Remove your special characters, remove somebody shouting on the calls. So all those abuses, etc., etc., we will remove everything. Yeah, missing values, pretty good. Missing values, we will do something about missing values, but yes, at least identifying missing values, we will do that as your data exploration, Sainath. Data cleaning is something that we do. Yeah, we will first do data cleaning. We are still at data cleaning part. You guys went ahead to the fourth step and fifth step already. So data cleaning is what I was talking about. Remove your special characters, remove abusives, remove stop words like I am, is, etc., etc. Then have your data. Then you do the exploration as we are talking about. Yes, do the missing value analysis, do the categorization, etc., etc., and then do your feature engineering. So feature engineering is very important. So one small example for you. Let's say you have date of birth column in your data set. Converting that to age, it will be more appropriate. That is one kind of your feature engineering. So that there are several things that we talk about feature engineering and data exploration, but at least a week will be dedicated for feature engineering. But now we do not have that much of time or stuff. But so modifying the data in an effective way is your feature engineering for now. And then you do your predictive modeling, and also you do your visualization. So you do your modeling and visualization, which helps. So the life cycle is clear. So the life cycle of any data science project would fall in a similar way. So you understand the problem that you're trying to solve, then collect your data, clean your data, then see, explore your data and see visualizations part of it and see how the data is looking, what data is telling you. Then you do your feature engineering, that is identify better features on the data, then do your models. So therein you can tell them what the data is doing with respect to your models. Okay. Cool, guys. Clear? Now you have several things in your so once you actually look at the curriculum that we share with you, you might see a several stuff, right? A lot of things. But you also have to understand why you have a lot of things, right? So when you were studying something, I mean, I don't know if there are anybody from electrical background, but even though you're studying electrical engineering, which I studied long ago, I still had to study on electronics. So I didn't really understand why I was doing it. But later, when we are doing sensor boards, then we understood, yeah, we had to use our electronics knowledge also for fixing few things on my breadboard. If you remember that, don't remember, don't ask question on that. But at least for designing some circuits, yes. I thought apart from my electrical knowledge on how motor works, I also need to understand how to fix it to an sensor to see whether it is going out of its marked speed or not. So similarly, in your machine learning, apart from just learning about machine learning models, you learn a lot of other stuff. First comes your mathematics. You learn your probability statistics. And we also just not teach you probability and statistics. Our emphasis would be more on a problem and how that problem is getting solved by using your techniques that I'm trying to help you with. So if there is no problem, there is no need to learn something. Yes, you found a problem. So you do a topic A. And there is problem B. Topic A is not able to solve that problem B. So we got a topic B, which is trying to solve that problem. So all the problems will be, the course would be explained in such a way that there is a problem in real time that can be solved by this algorithm, or that can be solved by this probability or statistic methodologies, or probability or statistic tests, which will help you to do it. Now, out of curiosity, I'm asking you, people were doing corona drug test, right? Drug test now, several phases. How do you think those tests are being done? Just a generic question I have. Probably we'll discuss that also, but any ideas, please ping me if you have ideas on that. Okay. Compare the results. Very good, but how we compare it? How they compare it? Now look at this slide. I think this is very, very interesting for you. So one possible question that you might have is this A or B classification algorithm? Is this different? We say that is anomaly detection. How much or how many? Would we will be solving something called as regression. How is this organized? This is clustering. And what should I do next? Reinforcement learning. So you learn all this stuff slowly, but surely you learn all this stuff, right? Yeah. So what applications you have? Right. We will talk about two things. One is your career opportunities. Second thing is how actually the tests are being done. So several. So in health, data science is everywhere. Okay. We have data science everywhere. In self-driving cars, yes. In conjunction with mechanical, in conjunction with biomedical and civil, you have several applications that you can actually have. So many companies now hire for data scientists. Robert Bosch, one of the pretty good electrical manufacturing company, have super good data science in their team, right? So we have these several tools. Again, don't get confused or don't get worried about all this stuff, but yes, you will learn all this stuff slowly, and you will know where to use it effectively when you actually learn it. So as I told you, you have statistics, you have machine learning, you have computer vision, deep learning. Now, few things for us, the computer science side, what we have, you have Matplotlib, Pandas, Python. All this stuff comes from your Python programming language, and then MySQL, Tableau are your tools that we actually use. RStudio is once you are learning something on R, we use RStudio. When we focus on Python, we don't use RStudio. RStudio is for R programming language, not for Python. R was used effectively before, so we were using R before, but now with advanced deep learning techniques, and so much of computer vision and natural language processing, we are no longer using R so much. Only persons who are just statisticians are using R, but all other data scientists, all companies have moved away from R to Python. So even though some companies were using R before, they were now using Python. So I'll take questions now. So first question, career opportunities for freshers. Yes. If you, for freshers, one advantage it's every time they have is all companies hire freshers irrespective of their BTech or any other education, MCA, BTech in different domains. Still they hire, they train, and they will be able to get hired. Now with respect to data science, data analyst positions are so many and also are available in several companies. So once you learn data analysis, those jobs are fresh. I mean, pretty good. You will be a pretty good candidate for those kind of jobs. Data analyst. Slowly, you can become data scientist in a year or two. Once you learn data analysis very well, and once you join any organization, you will be able to learn the domain. That would help. Yeah, I am a data scientist. I cannot give you a number, right? Mean median mode is what you think. Yeah. See, if you have experience in Python, you can be a data scientist or also a data analysis. Yeah, different data statistician is different. So mathematics and statistics proficiency, if currently if you don't have, don't worry. We will explain you. Not so much is required, but some understanding is required. Because bigger companies like Amazon's, Microsoft, etc., they use it a lot. Other companies might not use it, but they ask all the questions in interview. So understanding mathematics is important. If you don't understand also, it's fine. We can explain you very well. Programming basics, if you have, it is good. If you don't have, no problem. We will teach Python from the base. So Sainath, if you don't have programming background, is also fine. As I told you, there are no prerequisites for learning data science. If you are interested enough and if you are good to learn, good to spend some time with us or with yourself for learning something on stats and programming, yes, you will be a good candidate. So all these goes hand in hand. Data analyst would be starting position for freshers. Then slowly you can actually become a data scientist and a machine learning engineer. Duration of the course, we'll talk about it. Yeah, electrical engineering, any stream you can change. Anything you can change. Anybody is eligible for it. Yep. You are a postgraduate in machine design. Sai Krishna, I should get back to you on that. I'll copy your question. This is important, but I cannot answer it right now. How many real-time projects we will do in this course? We will do project for regression, classification, clustering, recommendation engines, unsupervised learning. In case of machine learning, in case of AI, we'll do project for computer vision, we'll do project for natural language processing. So we'll do several projects. Deployment will be covering at the end. Yes. For every project, we need to do the deployment. We'll be covering it at the end. Okay. So arts graduate is also eligible as long as you are putting some time to learning and mathematics. Yes, everybody is eligible. You need to put your effort in learning. We need to put our effort in teaching. So we will do the first topics. We'll do our part. second part is yours. No, Hadoop and big data is not part, because Hadoop and big data will not really help a data scientist, because if any company, if they are using Hadoop and big data, they really have data engineers who will be helping them. So a data scientist need not learn it. If a data scientist can do a basic SQL and see what kind of data is available, that's what is enough for them. So Hadoop and big data, no. Because a data scientist really don't need so much of Hadoop. Just have to understand the data. So for your question, no. Hadoop and big data will not be part of the course. Placements also will be covered at the end. Yep. Yes, career opportunities are there for everybody. So for freshers or experience, it is there. So the better you learn, depends on. See, career breaks are there for everybody. There will not be a problem. We should. Well, people will really not care about your gap, because there will be surge of requirement going ahead in future. So yes, no issues with that. Now what I am doing is face recognition and mask recognition. So think about this. So let us say let us say we have our own institute, right, informatics, and let us say hypothetically from next week, hypothetical, don't mark me for this. From next week, everybody is working on from classroom. So I am teach and you guys are all coming. So we wanted to know our own safety, right? So we will have a camera there in front of the class, and we will deploy this program there or algorithm there to identify, to validate whether somebody is wearing your mask or not. If you're not wearing the mask, yes, you're not allowed. If I am not wearing the mask, I am also not allowed. So we wanted to identify that. For now, only Python is a language, Virendra. So let us take the questions after this small demo or small thing that works. So you can do a lot of magics with data science is what I was trying to tell you. So now, so you understood the problem statement. So as long as there is no mask, you cannot allow them to come into the class, or government has to find them. Now, so now you look at the data here. You're able to identify somebody is not wearing a mask, somebody is wearing a mask, etc. Now, what we'll do in this specific algorithm is, we have the image. We'll first identify the face, then draw a bounding box, location of the face. Now, if you look at this box, right, for no mask, this is the box here for this guy, for this lady. All these things are your bounding boxes. So we have to actually draw a bounding box, because that is your region of interest. So nobody will be wearing mask to their neck, right? Even though they are wearing for their neck, it is of useless. They have to wear for their face. So somebody has to wear it like this lady is doing. If she is putting it down, it is useless. So the region of interest is the face of the person. So we need to draw a bounding box, and then we apply facial landmarks, that is to identify your eyes, nose, and chin, etc. Then you key features for the image processing. So training the model is what telling you the model, these are the available. If it is not available, then mark it as not available. Now, somebody was asking about deployment. Yes, see this. So load the face mask data, train face mask data with classifier, serialize classifier to disk. That means saving the model. So saving the model is similarly, we save the model because we will use it for deployment at the later point of time. Now, applying your face mask detector is your deployment. So you load your model, detect your faces in your images or video stream. So load in the model. So as I told you, we have a classroom. In front of the classroom, I have my camera. I load my model into my computer, which is connected to the camera. Camera takes the picture, sends the picture to my model in my computer. So it is already deployed. My model is already running. So once the image is given to the model, it identifies the region of interest for us. That is the face. Then it will apply the face mask detector, whether somebody is wearing the mask or not. Then it will show the results. Clear? So let's say there is a model. So let's say I am sitting inside the computer. and seeing to the image and saying whether they wore a mask or not. Yes or no. I'll just draw a box and tell them yes or no. Similarly, our model also does the same. Now, detailed process. The first biggest step is your data augmentation. What is augmentation is you don't have enough data because you don't have enough images with people wearing masks. So we have to create a lot of data for us, synthesize our data so that model is being learned. And you also have to turn the images in some certain angles, because once you're taking the image, you cannot really stand still like a passport photograph. You might turn your head, you might be running, you might be walking. So all the different angles we have to cover. Those are your data augmentation. Now you have to load a pre-trained model. So what is pre-trained model is something that we will learn later. But here what we call is, we say this as transfer learning. What I mean by transfer learning is, if I tell you, anybody, if you know mathematics, basics of mathematics, right? If I tell you like a plus b whole square is equal to a square plus 2ab plus b square, and if I ask you to calculate a plus b whole cube, what you do? A plus b whole square into a plus b. So you will substitute the a plus b whole square formula here and try to solve it. So that is called your transfer learning. You learned something about a plus b whole square. You are applying your knowledge for identifying something using the knowledge that you learned. So pre-trained models are the same models. They learn something and we will use them to train few other layers. Water layers, etc. is entirely not required now, but we use the existing knowledge. We improvise the knowledge for identifying the model. That's what we will do with respect to a transfer learning or any other models. You understood at least high level in what I was trying to tell you? Guys, be on mute, please. So I'll just try to execute and see how it works. Okay. So what is source activate Sandy is nothing but activating my virtual environment, because whenever you work with computer vision, always recommended to create your virtual environment. Why? That's a 1 hour topic. Forget about why, but always create virtual environment for different kinds of activities. One environment, like whenever you used to have your desktop computer, you have one drive for movies, or one folder for movies, one folder for songs, right? And one folder for, or one different drive for important activities or important stuff. Similarly, you have different environments for your different activities, period. So just learn that. Why you learn it later, but why you used to organize like that is you wanted to know, you wanted to effectively navigate through it. Here it is a different purpose, but the same result, easy to navigate. Okay. So the model is already built. So you have something called as detect mask image Python PY file. We will execute that file and we will see how things will be working. Let me see if this works. Okay, this is work now. No problem. If you don't understand, just understand that this is a program that is trying to identify the face and also whether they are wearing the mask or not. Now look at these images. There is one lady out here. I'm able to identify her face, and also I'm able to draw a bounding box over here and explaining she didn't wear any mask. Here also I'm able to draw a bounding box, and still I am still, because she wore a mask but she left it, I'm able to draw a box and say she was not wearing any mask. But here I'm able to identify that she is wearing a mask. So this is the program that you are trying to achieve. Something like transfer learning, if you don't understand, ignore it. You learn it at a later point of time. Yeah, if you don't understand about virtual environment also, it's like having different drives for different stuff. So when you organize your data, you organize your data in different drives for easier access. So we do the same here. Okay. You see, we can able to identify the mask very well. Any questions? Anything at all? With respect to carriers or with respect to model, anything you can please post. Yeah, Jupyter is mostly used because you can actually look at the plots and everything in Jupyter itself. Yes, you can still use PyCharm and Visual Studio Code. See, Jupyter is for your POC. Jupyter is for your explaining, and Visual Studio Code is for your deployment. Then I can show the code. But I hope this doesn't confuse you so much. This is the whole code. In OpenCV, we will do better projects. I mean, we will do similar projects while we are learning computer vision. But this is the code. So this is the code for detecting. There will be a different code for training. This is just code for detecting. The models are already deployed and saved. So just calling the models everywhere for finding it. Yeah, Jupyter is mostly used, I told you, because you can actually look at the plots and more interactively. PyCharm and Visual Studio Code, we use that for production purpose. Jupyter cannot be deployed in production. We will have to use Visual Studio Code or something while deploying our code in production. Non-computer background person will have careers in ML and DS. Yes, you can still have it. As I told you, anybody can learn data science. The most important thing is you have to learn it effectively. Non-computer background person, yes, you have. If you think that is disadvantage, the only thing that you can do is you have to focus more on your sessions, on training, and learn it. So that cannot be a deciding factor for hiring or not hiring for data science. But learning effectively is more important. When you teach Python, ML, deep learning, and AI, and also statistics and web scraping also. Maruti. Python, web scraping, then ML, deep learning, AI, and statistics and probability. Yes, that will. From where can I begin? From mechanical engineering, mechanical graduate. See, I told you I'm an electrical graduate. Okay, I have started as a QA engineer. Then I learned database. I became a database developer. Then I learned Hadoop. I started becoming in Hadoop. Then I became a data scientist. So you have to start learning what you wanted to become. If you want to become a data scientist, start learning for Python. Want to become a Java developer, start learning from core Java. So basics always. So mechanical engineer, any engineer, you have to learn from the basics of Python. You'll get to know. SQL, I don't. Data science and AI. See, there are several terms. Okay, AI is again very broad. Coming to data science, we talk about computer vision, natural language processing, etc. as part of AI. There is something called as AI is something on your search algorithms. Those are there. Those are not for us. Those are for effective searches. So AI again is a bigger perspective, but as part of your data science per se, what we talk about are your completely neural networks. Again, neural networks is again a bigger topic. So 70-80% of AI is neural networks. It will be covered as part of data science. As a fresher, you can start off with a data analyst, then slowly move on becoming a data scientist. or LML engineer? Mohan. Is SQL part of the course? I mean, I have been teaching for 10 batches, if I remember. And yeah, this is something that I want to talk at the end. But yes, as you brought it up, SQL will be there. Yes. So I have been teaching over 10 batches here. So can you bring up the slide? Probably. Okay, I can bring it up. I think I'll stop because the code is done. So quickly, right? Yeah, something on the first slide. Okay, don't have that information or okay. Okay, you have been seeing some slide, right, in the beginning, 70 plus batches, etc., etc., etc. Yeah, somebody will be teaching it right now. Yes, yeah, this is good. This one, right? Several algorithms, you have SQL, everything. Now you can go through this very well. So I have been teaching here. So I know what happens here is one person will not teach whole the stuff. That is most important for you guys to understand because let's say, yeah, for somebody asked me that question, right? We will be covering pretty good topics. Like I'll be covering pretty good topics, but few things, right? We have uh, even better people. So we'll actually, if you look for any college, right? Even though somebody is expertise in many subjects, we want experts in specific fields to be teaching those specific stuff. And we'll also take feedbacks from you. Not I will not take it. Institute guys will take it, and they will give us the information every week. So we will have to change or we'll have to adapt to users' feedback because it's more. See, the good we teach students, the good students will be talking about us. So the focus will be more on how the students are getting learned and also their feedback. So always we will take your feedback and we will see how effectively to implement it. Sai Fanindra, if you ask me which OS laptop processor where I am planning to buy, I am not very good at it, but Mac is costly. So buy something which can be Ubuntu. If you can install Ubuntu and have some 8 gigs of RAM or 16 gig of RAM, laptop, I think you have to buy Intel only. There is something else, like I forgot the name, but Intel, whatever processor you can buy for your price range. But if you don't want to buy OS, don't buy Microsoft OS, you can install Ubuntu, which is faster and easier. Seven years of experience, yeah, you can still switch. How they will consider? Yeah, in your 7 years of experience in IT, you might have gained a lot of domain knowledge also. So 7 years of experience is not just you learn programming or coding. You learn how to handle a team. You learn how to handle several situations, and also you learn domain. You learn how to handle clients. So learning programming or testing or anything is just 30% of it. The rest 70% is you learn a lot of stuff apart from it. So any number of years of experience, you can still switch appropriately. So this is one, that is what you have now. We have 4 months of training, 2 hours of sessions per day from Monday to Friday. Online live instructor based learning. So, you know, COVID-19 is making that. Then you have access to your videos and course. So everything, mostly we will record all the videos and we will share it. So there are 6 capstone projects and stuff, right? So we'll explain you web scraping, EDA, machine learning, sentiment analysis, deep learning, etc. Everything will be explained. Any questions? Okay, good question, Redmi. What is the fee of the course? Yep. Any other questions? Yep. Yeah. Sales team will talk to you, Redmi. Yes, on that. How much is the fees, etc. Yeah, apart from money related, fee related stuff. Yeah, placement opportunities.
Yes, I'll take this question, Sandeep.
Yeah.
Yeah, guys, so you're done with the technical questions. So if you have any technical questions, please post there so that Sandeep can answer. Any questions related to the course and what is the fee and all? Fee and all, definitely it will be taken up by the sales team. What is the average score? See, we have two different IBM certifications available. So one is online IBM certification, wherein you will be getting a user ID and password from IBM. And it's a self-paced course material which they will be giving it to you. And you will be getting some of the quizzes while you are going through that self-paced course. And then at the end, you will be getting a online IBM certification saying we have different certifications from IBM offering for data science, and they have some cloud computing related, cyber security related. But under data science for online, they have predictive analytics certificate. So that certificate you will be getting in the online IBM certificate course. Okay. And we have another IBM certification which we were offering during our offline courses, which is mastery level badges, where we have two badges, AI analyst and predictive modeler. So these two we used to offer for IBM certificate. Even now we are offering them. For that, you need to appear for one exam, and then that exam will be conducted by the IBM team. So earlier they used to come to our institute since it was offline, so which is before Corona. So they used to come to our institute, and we need to schedule one particular date and time so that the people who got enrolled for IBM certification, they will come and conduct the exam, and you need to pass through that exam. But now after Corona, even they have made that mastery level badge also online. So for this mastery level IBM certification that we are offering is extra apart from the course which we are offering now. So if you enroll for this particular program, we will be providing you that online IBM certification. But if you need mastery level IBM certification, the extra payment has to be done. And that IBM certification, again, as I mentioned, we will have separate curriculum along with the course curriculum which we are providing as part of Innomatics. There is another curriculum which will cover the IBM related tools like IBM Watson and other stuff. And then they will be teaching, I mean, our trainers will be teaching that, and then you need to appear for that exam. And coming to the job assistant, someone has asked the question, right? So here what we do is, unlike other institutes, they will be saying that 100% job guarantee, 100% job assistance. So here we do it differently, guys. Here we will be conducting the online exams. We will be giving you the projects to work upon, and we will be conducting the hackathons, and we have some of the exercises or the assignments during the course of this program. So for each of this assessment level, you will be given a score. So based on your score, we will be identifying the top performers from that particular batch. So these top performers, we will be taking their profiles, and we will be doing a technical evaluation round for all those people, and then we will keep those profiles in our database. So whenever we get any requirement from any of the company, these profiles will be considered on a primarily basis, because I cannot share the resumes who are below average or the average performers, because in this process I may be losing my clients also. So if someone is going out of this institute, or if we are forwarding any profile from this institute, they should be the best people. So it is your responsibility to attend all those assessments and then score better, so that your resume can be considered, and then it will be shared across to the respective requirements which we will be receiving. We have a separate placement pool which is headed by one of the delivery head who has 20 plus years of experience, and we have around 3 to 4 members working under him. So they will be continuously working on the job opportunities, and whenever we get any requirement, we will be directly contacting the respective company's HR, and we will be scheduling the interview. This is how we do. And coming to the general job opportunities, if you check our LinkedIn page, you can follow our page. There we will be posting the general job opportunities. It will be open for everyone. We do have some of the companies who will be directly contacting us whenever they have requirements. So for that, whatever process I have explained earlier, those profiles will be shared. But there can be a few generalized requirements which will be posted in our LinkedIn page. So please follow the page, and then you can share your resumes directly with the contacts which was provided there. As I would request everyone to attend the hackathons, because these are the individual assessments. We will be giving some of the problem statements, and then you need to appear for that hackathon, and within the stipulated time. Say if I am giving, say, this Uber data analysis, so using some machine learning algorithm, I'm asking you to predict something. Within 3 to 4 hours of time, you need to come up with a solution. So such kind of things, if you can attend, you will gain a lot of confidence, and you can appear for the any interview. So whatever process I've explained will make you interview ready. So we will assure that we will provide that assistance, and we can take you to the interview doorstep. From there, that is your responsibility to prove yourself and get the job. Yes, you will be getting the lifetime access for the course, whatever videos and the course material which we have, whatever email ID you are sharing to us. So that email ID will have access for lifetime once you enroll into the program. Any more questions? If anyone has any questions, I would request them to write it in the chat box so that we can respond you accordingly. We are not covering cyber security use cases as such, but security related use cases we are covering as part of image processing. For example, we just had a use case which we discussed, right? So that is image processing. We have some of the projects which we will be assigning you once you enroll in the program. I'll explain one of the example. I can share you that till now, whenever we do this attendance tracking for an employee, we used to have this biometric access. Earlier, we used to have our office tag IDs. Later, it has been shifted to biometric access. So now I think after Corona, things have changed a lot. So even biometric access is little risky to use it in the office premises. But using data science, we can have this attendance tracking system to open for the people who are employees of that company. So based on your face detection, unlike our phones and laptops nowadays, being face will be detected and then they'll unlock, right? In the same way, even the office doors will also be unlocked using the face detection. So even in our office, in our institute, we don't do this biometric. There is a camera fixed there, and we have trained the system with all the images of the employees, and it will identify the employee with the employee. I mean, we will be tagging the employee ID also for that particular image, and then it will give the in time and the out time of that particular person. So he may be going in and out of the institute for many number of times, but it will take the first entry and the last exit time, and it will store it into the system. Even if a person walks into the institute also, we will have a user id and the count level also. So if a person is coming for the first time, since we didn't train the model with the name of you, but the counter will be 1, which means this particular image id, this person has visited for the first time. When you are coming for the second time, image id will be unique, so that will be assigned for you, and the counter will be increased to 2. So that is how we will be using. I mean, we will have number of use cases, as we mentioned in our first slide. We have around 240 plus use cases I mean, available with us. As part of the course, around 30 plus use cases we will be covering, but we would request everyone to work on more number of use cases rather than just hearing the theory in the videos. We would request them to work upon all these use cases. We are happy to provide all those use cases if you are interested to work upon. Currently, we are not having this cyber security course with machine learning and deep learning. This is for Rajkumar. Yes, Sai Krishna, we do have weekend batches, but exact time and date when it is going to start with the new batch, we do have already some existing weekend batches which are started 2 weeks back, a month back. So new batch details, definitely my sales team will get back to you. Thank you, Sai. Raghu, can you just give me access? I just wanted to show that video, which I have just explained. So guys, I was talking about identifying the face, right? So this was the video, just a glimpse. This is our institute. A person entered. It has identified his name, employee ID. So we do have many use cases, and you can work upon all those things. We have text processing also. We have a voice recognition. We have a lot of stuff which you can work upon. And our main strength is our in-house data scientist team, so they will be always available, and whenever the course is done, we will be still having this mentor support at least for 3 months. And even while assigning the projects also, you will, along with the trainer, you will have a mentor who can help you in completing those projects. If you have any queries while working on the projects, if you are not able to get the desired output based on the problem statement, they will help you to complete all of them. Any more questions, guys? If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to take it. Otherwise, we can wind up the session. It is not required. I mean, the name I don't know. Hawk. See, if you have completed Python, and say till machine learning, we will have some of the opportunities which are specific to machine learning. So they may not be asking you for a deep learning or NLP skill set. So if you complete till machine learning, you are eligible to apply for any of the job opportunities which are with machine learning skill set. And as I mentioned, we will not be waiting for entire course to be completed to assign any projects to you, and even the quizzes, assessment, whatever I have mentioned. So everything will be given after each module is done. For example, after Python is done, immediately we will be giving you the web scraping project. And once the machine learning is done, we will be assigning you, say, a classification algorithm is done. So then immediately we will be assigning you the classification algorithm. So that's why you no need to wait for the entire course to go and attend the interviews. But if you are preparing yourself on daily basis, and you are following whatever has been taught in the class and whatever assignments the trainer is giving, if you are able to submit it on time, that is good enough to go and attend the interviews. Any more questions? Sorry, what was your question? Maybe I would have missed. Okay, how many assignments? See, we have, as I mentioned, we have 25 quizzes and assessments and 6 capstone projects which we will be giving you as part of this program. But as I mentioned, we have 200 plus use cases which we have, and you can work upon all those use cases also. We will give an access to work on all those use cases. It is completely based on your personal interest. And as I mentioned, if you have your own data set also, we are any project which is I mean, if you are working on any healthcare domain, and you have some of the healthcare related data with you, so you can come up with that data, and we are here to help with the project completion. all these use cases are split across the domains. As Sandeep has mentioned, we do have use cases related to banking. We have use cases related to manufacturing. We have use cases related to automobiles. We have use cases related to healthcare. So we have many number of use cases. Yes, Vipin, we will be providing you the course material for each of the module which we are covering. Along with the course material, I mean the PPTs, you will be having the videos of the each session which you are going to attend. As we mentioned, a single trainer cannot cover the entire data science course. It's a myth, because a single person cannot be a master of each and every topic. So here in Innomatics, what we do is, whenever we assign or take any trainer, we will assess them based on their primary and secondary skills. So person who is expert in, say, Python, so he will be taking Python classes. Person who is good at machine learning will be taking machine learning classes. So around 3 to 4 trainers will be changed. I mean, you will be interacting with 3 to 4 trainers during the course of the program. Our sales team will call Vijay definitely and explain you about the course fees. And we do have, I mean, 2 installments as of now. So you can ask for EMI options also if required. So my sales team will get back to you, Vijay. Anything else which I can answer? Okay, thank you so much, guys. Hope you got some clarity on what is data science, who can learn data science, and what we provide as part of this program, and the use case which Sandeep has explained, the face mask detection. So you got a high level and the back end technical details how the mask detection works. Of course, since you guys were not known about this Python and the machine learning models, the technical part of it you may not be understanding. For few of you it may be sounding little weird, but once you join the course and once you start working on the projects, you'll be loving it. Okay, so hope today you had a good I mean the learning experience from us, and hope to see you all possibly, and all the very best. Thank you so much for joining. Bye bye. Have a great day.